I think it's present for Shiva.
Is that it? Hang on. Okay, try that.
Is everyone able to see me?
Yes.
Awesome.
We've got video and we've got audio. So I'm gonna hand it off to you.
That's perfect. Okay, let me bring up my slides. Okay, so everyone's able to hear me? Okay, awesome. So let's start it then. So hello everyone, I'm going to talk to you about a new framework which is getting popular every day. So it's called NativeScript. It's a platform where you can build truly native mobile apps using the web frameworks that you know. I know all of you know Angular here because it's Angular Portland meetup, but we have 4 architecture types available: Angular, TypeScript, JavaScript, or Vue. So by the end of the talk, you'll be more familiar with what NativeScript is. So let me move on to the next slide. I'm Shiva Prasad. I work as a lead software developer at BFit Technologies. You can tweet me at multishiv19. And I recently became a NativeScript developer expert, and I love talking about NativeScript. And that's about me. So what is NativeScript? NativeScript is an open source framework for building truly native mobile apps with JavaScript. So use web skills like this TypeScript, Angular, Vue, and CSS, and all these web developer skills that you have, you can reuse. So if you ask me, if you are a web developer, you're already a native app developer thanks to NativeScript. So if you see the NPM downloads for NativeScript package, it has just been skyrocketing over the past few months because a lot of people are adapting to this new framework, which helps you build native mobile apps. So you might be wondering right now, what is the difference between NativeScript and let's say Ionic or Cordova or these kind of things? So Ionic or Cordova builds what we call as a hybrid app. In a hybrid app, what you see is there's a web view and your website is running inside a web view. So because of that, the performance is lost. You don't get the true native experience. So the developer experience is good. I agree with that. But the end user experience is not good. So what's great in that, right? So if you build a mobile app which is not good for the user, then it's a waste of time, right? So NativeScript is here to solve that issue. So before I continue, I'll already make a bold statement to you saying NativeScript is the best tool for cross-platform native app development. So by the end of the talk, I'll tell this line again and you'll see why it makes more sense. So in this talk, I'll give you 5 reasons why NativeScript is the best tool for native mobile app development using your web skills. So NativeScript provides you rich, animated, no-compromise native UI. Let me play this animation. You can see this NativeScript examples app. It was built using NativeScript. You can search for examples NativeScript on iOS App Store or Google Play, and you can try this out for yourself. You can see that, let me play that again. See how fluid that was? That is real native mobile animation. It's not a no hoax post. It's nothing like making animation inside a web view or something. It's all native, 100% native mobile animations built using NativeScript. And then NativeScript gives you maximum core and skill reusability. So let's say, I'm sure that all of you might be knowing all of the technologies that I'm showing here on the screen. There's JavaScript, CSS, NPM, Sass, Webpack, TypeScript, Vue, and Angular. So all of you might have heard about all of this. So NativeScript helps you reuse all of these skills to target a new platform. You can target all the mobile users using these options. With NativeScript, you have 4 architecture choices. You can either go with plain JS, so you can just build a NativeScript project with just JavaScript, no other frameworks or strings attached, or you can go with NativeScript with TypeScript, or you can choose our favorite NativeScript Angular, or with recently Vue into the mix, and it's available in production now. We have NativeScript Vue as well. And then we got code sharing. So code sharing is not possible with NativeScript with TypeScript and NativeScript with JavaScript, but with NativeScript and Angular and NativeScript and Vue, you have the option to do code sharing. By that, I mean that you'll just have one repo, and with that, you'll be able to target both mobile and the web. Of course, you'll have to be rewriting the views for the web and mobile, but it's just 2 separate views, but you can combine all the logic together. You can reuse the logic. Talk about time saving, right? What happens is that we are not having any kind of web view in the mobile, so there is no option of writing a div or a span and all those web UI that you write. So you'll have to write the UI for mobile again and then web again, and you can reuse the logic there. So you can see here there's a groceries app running. You can see it's running on the web in the middle and iOS and Android on left and right. So that's about code sharing. And then the third reason is ease of doing native things. So with that, I mean, you'll just be able to write native functionalities in your app using JavaScript or TypeScript. So let's say here I'm creating a new file. I just import file from file system and just do new file. And NativeScript really takes care of doing that transformation. It goes and calls the native APIs on Android and iOS respectively. To you, it is abstracted. And that is what we call as NativeScript modules. So with NativeScript modules, we have some pre-built libraries. For example, there's one for image, there's one for file, there's one for switch, and so on, where you can just use those NativeScript modules. You just write that once. Learning is only once, and then when you write it, when it runs on Android, it calls the native API of Android, and when it runs on iOS, it calls the native API of iOS. It will be more clear when I demo it later. Then we also have NativeScript modules for UIs. So, for example, so this is your first glimpse at what NativeScript UI looks like when you write the markup. So let's say you write a switch like this. It will turn out to be a native Android switch when you run it on Android, and it will turn out to be a native iOS checkbox switch. Sorry, it will turn out to be a native iOS switch when you compile it on iOS. So, and other things are, we have a NativeScript marketplace where other developers like you and many others like me as well, and all these people come together and create plugins for you, and you can use those plugins in your native app. And we also have option to reuse existing Android and iOS libraries. So there's Android Arsenal, if you might have heard about it, and CocoaPod libraries for iOS. You can really take those already built things and build a wrapper around it, and that'll just become a NativeScript plugin. So it'll be like you find some Android library and iOS CocoaPod, and you just create one common API so that the end user, the NativeScript developer, will just call that common API, and NativeScript takes care of calling the Android specific library when compiled for Android, and takes care of calling the iOS specific library when compiled for iOS. You as a plugin developer will be writing a wrapper around it. you'll be saying that if the platform was Android, then go to Android, this particular Android library and call this API. And if it was iOS, then call this particular API from this CocoaPod. That would be a NativeScript plugin. And the fourth reason for you is vibrant and growing community. I can't stress this enough, but NativeScript community is the best that I've seen so far. It's really cheerful and people are friendly out there, ready to help you all the time. There's forum.nativescript.org. This is the NativeScript discourse forum where you can just ask questions, like a threaded discussion. And if you don't like threaded discussion, we also have NativeScript Slack, where it's sort of like an informal chat, and you can always see some people online there, and people are ready to help you all the time. Especially me, I'll be online most of the time here. So this is some old stat. We are almost about to reach 6,000 users now. And then the last reason is you're being supported by a major software company vested in your success. Progress has a good software background for developing mobile UIs. You must have heard of Kendo UI and all these things. They're by Progress. So they have a good grasp of how mobile UI works. And they went ahead and built NativeScript for us, which is awesome. They also have NativeScript UI, which used to be like some part of this was free, just the side drawer and list view, and the other components used to be paid long ago. But now all of it is free for you. You have charts, and you have calendar, gauges, and whatnot. So you can use this professional UI components for free now. That's really great. And then we have something called NativeScript Sidekick. So this is this really lives up to its name, I must say, because it's something that really eases your work. So if somebody just wants to install NativeScript, he can simply download Sidekick, and it'll do one-click installation of NativeScript. And after that, you'll be able to, create projects and use some templates, maybe a drawer navigation template or tabs template or master detail template. You can choose from this, and you can also choose the project type here on the left side. You can go with NativeScript JavaScript or TypeScript or with Angular. And you know what? You can even publish it to Play Store or App Store directly from Sidekick. You just need to configure your credentials, and for iOS, the provisioning profiles and everything, and you'll be able to directly publish your app from Sidekick. Or you can publish it from CLI if you want to, or you can do it with the same way that any other native developer does by going to their console and submitting it there. You can do that as well, or you can just submit it from Sidekick. And another thing is that with NativeScript Sidekick, you can build iOS apps on Windows. That's awesome, right? So you can do cloud builds with NativeScript. If you're on Windows, you can just install Sidekick, and you of course need to have an Apple developer account, and you can just do a cloud build, and you can use an iOS device for testing. So technically, you can build native iOS apps on Windows with NativeScript, which was not possible before. Then we have an amazing thing going on here. It's called NativeScript Playground, and this is what I'm going to be using for the demo today. So with NativeScript Playground, anybody can quickly try out NativeScript without having to install anything. So you can just go to play.nativescript.org, and you'll have to download two apps for your mobile. One is called NativeScript Preview, another one is called NativeScript Playground. Again, both are available on Android and iOS. So with that, you'll be able to directly get into NativeScript from your browser. Isn't that cool? So you're going to be more familiar with it by the end of the talk. And then NativeScript also offers a variety of support options. So we have developer level support, enterprise level support, professional services available for you. If you're from the enterprise and you're looking for some paid support, NativeScript has that for you. And also, obviously, the community support is really good. So let me sum up the 5 reasons for you. So we have rich, animated, no compromise native UI, and we have maximum code and skill reusability. We have the ease of doing native things, and we have vibrant and growing community, and you are supported by a major software company. So these are the 5 reasons I gave you for choosing NativeScript. Another awesome thing I'll tell you about NativeScript, which is not mentioned here in these slides, is that you get 100% day zero native API access, which means, let's say iOS surprises you with iOS 12 just tomorrow. NativeScript will have those API exposed for you on the day one. So NativeScript has 100% day zero native API access. By that I mean you can just go in and tap into those native APIs. Unlike React Native, where in React Native people have to write wrappers around those native APIs. You know, those bridges. When they write the bridges, then they will be accessible to the application developer. But in NativeScript, it's not like that. You're getting 100% access to all the native APIs right out of the box. So it doesn't matter, like someday if you're not able to find a plugin which you want for NativeScript, you will be able to make it on your own, because that's how easy NativeScript is. So now I'm going to make my statement again. NativeScript is the best tool for cross-platform native app development. I hope by now all of you agree with that. Of course, I cannot see you. I don't know if any of you are nodding your head or anything, but that's okay. Okay, thanks, Sam. I can see some of them now. Yeah. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoyed it so far. Let's start with the demo now. So for this, what I've done is go to full screen mode. Exit full screen. So we're gonna be looking at Playground today for the demo session. All you need to do is go to play.nativescript.org. If anybody of you want to follow along, I'm gonna open up the QR code now, and you can scan that QR code, and you'll be able to see what I'm doing on your phone. But if you want to do that, you have to install NativeScript Preview and NativeScript Playground apps on your phone. Okay. Or if you want to follow along, you can head here and download those apps. Okay, so what I've got going on here is on the right side, I have two mobile phones here. I have my real Android device connected over here and a real iOS device. I don't have control over the mouse of iOS one because it's running on QuickTime, but on the Android side, I have full control here. Okay, so I'll just scan the QR code now. If any of you have installed it already, then you can do it too. You can do it too. Let me bring up Playground here. Scanning the QR code. Real quick. So I finished scanning the code on both Android and iOS. Now, if any of you still want to scan it, I'll give you a moment, maybe 10 seconds. Meanwhile, I'll drink some water.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. So let's continue. So you can see that, oh, somebody joined. Okay, there's somebody here. Samsung, somebody. Okay, Android 7. Nice. Okay, so you can see that the apps have started, and on the right side you can see iOS. On the left side, let me mute my mic for a second. There, I live near the train station. Okay, so here. One of the downsides to living near a railway station, you get to hear the noise every day. Okay, so the apps have started, and you can see that if I make some changes here, let's say I'll say hi Angular Kotlin meetup, and I'll just hit Command S, and you can see that it refreshes on the screen real quick. You didn't see anything open up or something. Let me do that again. I'm just gonna remove the second line here like that, and you see that it's gone. Wasn't that quick? So whenever you make some changes to the UI, it is gonna refresh immediately. But if you make some changes to the TypeScript file, let's say I add some console log here, constructor add, and do that, then it has to refresh. So whenever you make some UI changes or styling changes, then it's gonna refresh quick. Otherwise, if it's a logic change, then it's gonna launch again, and you can see that constructor fired on all the 3 phones. Okay, so before we continue, I'm gonna make you familiar with this web page, what's Playground and everything. So on the left side, you have this Explorer where you can see all the files. It's easy to access. Just click on this folder and this 3 dots here, and you can click on Add File. I hope it's clear for everybody. I mean, is it visible? Are the fonts fine? These fonts?
Yeah, I think they're fine.
Okay.
You might zoom in just a little bit.
I can make it bigger if you want.
Yeah, that would be great.
Is this readable?
Yeah, I think so.
Or you want me to make it more bigger?
How about just a little bit bigger?
How about?
Yeah.
This is the max.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay. So, yep. So you can click on here and click on Add File, and you can add a JavaScript, TypeScript, or all these types of files. You can even upload resources from here. Let's say you are using an image in your app. You can add that here. You can add a component or module or anything like that. And then this button, you can add an npm package. Let's say you want to add a plugin to your NativeScript app. You can add it from here. And here we have the essential components section on the left side, where you can simply drag and drop components from here. Let's say I want to add a button. I can just drag it here. Oops. Yeah, it's the button here. I will to see it. I think it's something to do with that's strange. I think I might have to refresh this page. Can I do this now? Yes, I guess. I'll have to scan this again, unfortunately. I think something made that go broke. Sure. Sorry about that. I have this button here. Okay, so I've added a button here. I just dragged and dropped from here, and you can see that button is over here. You can press the button, and I get a console log here. I see this guy presses a lot of buttons. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so at the top we have a new option where you can choose between the other 4 architecture types. By default, Angular opens up. You can choose NativeScript with JavaScript or TypeScript, and that's a QR code, and you can save projects here, or you can fork one, or you can download from here, and you can even log in and save your projects, and you can name it. And at the bottom we have error section, and there's the device log where you can see all the logs. Then you have a devices section. I think that's pretty much clear. You can see the package JSON here, and that's about it for the UI of NativeScript Playground. So on the left side, you can see all the files, and these files look familiar to you. So I don't know if I can zoom like this. Does this zoom? Does this zoom on your screen? Sam, does this zoom on your screen as well?
Yeah, it looks good.
Okay, so you can see that this project structure looks very similar to you if you're already a Angular developer. We have components and we have modules, just about same thing. What you do in Angular, you do with NativeScript. So nothing really fancy, but some modules are there. For example, there's NativeScript HTTP module. Okay, I need to, shouldn't have zoomed. Oops. Windows 0. Yep, perfect. Yeah. So there's NativeScript HTTP module. With NativeScript HTTP module, what we are doing is, so we need native API access to HTTP module on Android and iOS, right? So what NativeScript people have done is, in NativeScript HTTP module, just to support code sharing, it takes care of identifying which platform you're running the app in. If you're running in iOS, it calls the iOS, the post API or get APIs, the HTTP module and if you're running on iOS, it calls the HTTP module of iOS. And if you're running the same project in the web, it calls the same thing that you use in Angular for the web. So it's just a wrapper that takes in Angular HTTP module and also adds this NativeScript TNS HTTP module. I mean the one that supports Android HTTP modules and iOS HTTP modules, and it bundles together. You'll get to know what I mean in just a second there. So you have this. If I really quickly go through this app.module.ts, you can see that we are importing some things like ng module factory loader. The names might seem familiar to you. It will be something like factory loader and other kind of things in Angular, but with NativeScript or ng in it when you develop for NativeScript. So it'll be very quick to get used to once you see it for a couple of times. And everything else looks similar. If you see the component TS file or the HTML file, this might look new to you. It's the page router outlet. So let me zoom in. Max. Okay, this is the page router outlet. What page router outlet does is, in Android and iOS, we have some different type of navigation approach, right? You have pages, you go somewhere and then you press back button, then you come back to that thing. And really the mobile navigation works a bit different. Let's say you're on a web app and you have two buttons or two links, and you quickly click on the first link and then you click on the second link. You'll end up in the second link, right? Because the first link wasn't loaded and you clicked on second link, the previous navigation gets cancelled and you go to the second link. But in mobile, it's not like that. So navigation is handled a little bit differently. If you click on the same link 3 or 4 times, you're likely to navigate to that place 3-4 times in mobile. So that's why, like, we have a different type of router outlet for mobile, that's called the page router outlet, to give you more support or mobile navigation, like clearing the history and adding Android back button support and those kind of things. That's why we have page router outlet instead of router outlet. And this is the routing module. Here you can see, instead of importing the regular Angular router module from @angular/router, we are importing NativeScript router module. And rest of the things is pretty much the same. You're just doing this for route and you're passing the routes, and setting up the routes is also the same thing that you do in Angular. So let's continue here. Let's do a few more things before we continue with the demo. I was showing you the switch right in the talk. So let me create a switch as simple as clicking that. And you can see that the switch appeared on the screen, and I can just toggle it. You see that it's appearing differently on the device as per the layouting is concerned. That can be fixed. You can center it, like horizontal alignment is center. Maybe, yeah, not center on both screens. Okay, so to continue, I'll pause this playground for a second and I'll point to a resource where you can learn about layouts. Okay, so you can go to nslayouts.com. At the end of the talk, I'm going to provide links to all of this, so you don't have to write it down or anything. You can visit nslayouts.com, and you can go through this 16 set of small exercises where it will teach you everything about NativeScript layouts, which is really important because everything that you're writing on the logic end of a NativeScript app will be similar to what you're doing in your regular Angular apps for the web. But the UI part is which is completely different. You are writing HTML. I mean, by that I mean the file is named HTML, but what you're writing inside it is not HTML. We have these custom components. We have this action bar, and we have this scroll view, stack layout, and these kind of things. So if you visit this nslayouts.com, it really does a good job of introducing you to all the different layouts that are available with NativeScript. These are the different layouts that are available. We have the stack layout. Stack layout, it's for stacking components on top of other, or you can even stack it horizontally. And then we have wrap layout. As the name suggests, it just wraps around. If you're stacking horizontally in a wrap layout, then as soon as the screen space gets over, it automatically wraps to the next line. Then we have absolute layout, much like the absolute layout of the web. Then we also have grid layout. This is also similar to the grid layout of the web. Then we have dock layout for docking something at the top or bottom. Maybe you have a bottom navigation bar, or that tab bar which you can dock at the top. And then we have flexbox layout. You can use everything that you know about CSS flexbox with NativeScript flexbox layout. Yeah, so when you're free, I recommend you to go through this NS Layouts website so that you're familiar with all the NativeScript layouts. It will really save you some time, development time later on. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on Get Started button, and we'll click on Interactive Tutorials. And we're gonna build ourselves a groceries app. Okay, Mr. Samsung G950U, your mobile must have refreshed and you should be seeing Hello World right now. Okay, so I can see Hello World right now on the screen. So this first exercise really makes you familiar with what NativeScript Playground is. Since we are already familiar, we can continue from here. So what they're saying is you can just go to this component.ts and rename this Hello World to Hello NativeScript. And this is something I already demonstrated for you. Yep. Okay. So really quickly, I'm going to show you a chart demo here. You can see a chart on the screen right now. So this was made using NativeScript Pro UI components. You can see a rad Cartesian chart. Yeah, zooming in. So I'm just using a template right here. I'm not using another file. So you can see there's a rad Cartesian chart and there's some categorical axis. Don't really worry about the syntax of it right now, but you see a general workflow of how it goes. So you can just use all the binding knowledge that you have from Angular. This is one-way binding, and you can even do two-way binding and everything, just like the way you do in Angular. And here we have actually bind the favorite fruits to the items property of bar series, and that is why we see those icons down here and the appropriate values. I'm going to continue with the next step. Creating user interfaces. So go to app component.ts and replace this with this. You'll see me pretty much copy paste most of these things, but I'm going to explain you how it works. So what we have got going on here is a basic form. We have a email address, password. Okay, do we have less time now, or can this extend?
Sorry, what was that?
Do we have less time now, or can this extend a little longer, maybe half an hour more?
No, we probably only have a few minutes left because the venue is gonna kick us out.
Oh my God.
we should probably try to move to Q&A pretty soon.
Oh my God. In that case, what I'm going to do is I'll go to directly the completed example of this and walk you through the code really quick so that you get a general idea of how a NativeScript app looks like. Okay. So github.com/useful links. Quick. This happens to you all the time when leave this. You have to scan it again. This is a new example. Okay, so you can see a finished app here. It's a NativeScript app, the groceries app. You can see that we have a form here which was built using Flexbox. This one. Yeah, supposed to be Flexbox layout. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, so we have a Flexbox layout surrounding it, and using CSS, we have done Justify Content Center, Align Content Center, and all this is your familiar CSS that you write for the web. Using the same CSS, you can style native apps, but let me remind you that in NativeScript, you have a subset of CSS available because all the CSS that works in the web doesn't work for mobile, because we are really giving you those native styles which are available on each native platforms. So all the CSS that is there on the web is not available. For example, box shadow, and the available CSS are mentioned in the docs, so you can take a look at that later. Let me click on the sign in button here. Okay, my account was deleted. That's fine. So I'm gonna sign up. Let's just go back to login. Something wrong in this. I'm gonna create Portland at angular.com. Angular, sign up. The demo gods are not with me today.
You're doing great.
Okay, that's fine. I think this demo is not working because Telerik backend is down or something. I have another sample here. Maybe this one. This is the same one that I have opened up. Okay, I think there's something wrong with the. Okay, I have another demo. If this isn't working, it's fine. This app actually connects to the Telerik backend. So when you do login here, you can see we are just using the same concepts that you have learned already in Angular. We are subscribing to an observable, and we are doing this .outer.navigate, and all the the dependency injection and the way the services work. Everything is same. So you'll feel at home when you develop with NativeScript. It'll just be like developing any Angular app, but in the end, what you're getting is a native mobile app. So the users will be happy and you will be happy. So we have this shared and grocery service over here. We're actually connecting to this config.api URL and groceries, so which is connects to the groceries backend from Telerik. And you can see the way we are using HTTP module here also remains the same. The same way you can even use HTTP client module. Here we are using HTTP module, but you can use HTTP client module as well. But the way you're registering it in the app module will be different. So here we are registering NativeScript HTTP module instead of the HTTP module of Angular. The same way, if you want to use HTTP client module, that would be NativeScript HTTP client module, which will again be from NativeScript Angular/HTTP client. So with that, you'll be able to use HTTP client as well if you like HTTP client more than HTTP module. And then creating new components will also be the same as the way you create in any other place. And do you know the way you create router links, right? You just do router link and you pass the new route, right? So with NativeScript, you just have to replace that with NS router link instead of router link. That is another difference that I would like to point out. And those really small bits are just tagged with NS, and most of the directives start with TK for Telerik, because Telerik was the company which developed NativeScript first. And these are some directives, and all these directives you can really see in the docs. I really wanted to sign in so that I can show you the groceries app. Unfortunately, they're not able to see. Quick. This is the last thing, and then we can go on with the QA. This is another demo I made for NJ India. This doesn't connect to any backend, so it'll be easy to demo it. So what we have here is an app where you can search for nearby hotels, and you can click on the hotel to navigate to that hotel. So you can just start typing, and you can see the list updates in real time, and you can click on it and it navigates to that place. Same for Android. I can just type and click on it, navigates to that place. It's quite far from here because I gave the talk up there in India, Delhi. So yeah, so that's that. So you can see that adding some native capabilities is pretty easy with NativeScript. Here I've added a capability where the app is talking to the native maps app. For that, I have used NativeScript app availability and NativeScript directions plugin. NativeScript directions plugin takes care of really calling those native APIs and opening the maps app for you. You will be just doing when the button is clicked, you will be just doing something like open the directions for this, something like this. This is how some code for NativeScript might look like when you use a plugin. You're just saying here this directions dot navigate, and you're passing the from location. And if you don't pass the from location, it will take your current location, and then you pass the to location, and then you can just get a callback saying the maps app was launched, and you can do something in the callback. So this is pretty much the gist of what you'll be doing with NativeScript. You will be heading over to plugins.nativescript, market.nativescript.org, and you'll be looking at different plugins for your project. You'll be installing those plugins using TNS plugin add and the plugin name when you're working with the CLI. Or in Sidekick, you get a UI where you can add a plugin. You can do that as well. Or you can try out NativeScript in NativeScript Playground. So I hope I did some justice to show what NativeScript looks like. I'm not sure how much I was able to convince all of you, but I tried my best in what I could do in this half an hour. So if you have any questions, you can ask me now. And you can go to github.com/shiv19/NativeScript useful links. This is a GitHub repo that I put up, which contains all sorts of useful links for you. You can go through this for really quickly learning NativeScript. It doesn't take you a long time to learn NativeScript. So you can shoot your questions at me now.
Okay, I'm gonna try something with this wireless remote.
Okay.
Can you hear this, Shiva?
Yes.
Awesome. Does anybody have questions Shiva on NativeScript. I'll try this. I'll be like Oprah for the night. You get a mobile app. You get a mobile app.
So I noticed in that last bit of code you had that there were 2 tags in there that showed what to do when it's iOS and what to do when it's Android. Could you go over those a little more?
Yes, sure. We have this restaurant search app, okay? So this I've done to demonstrate that you can run different bits of code in different platform, okay? So there are 3 ways that you can do it. Let's say you have a label. Let's just reuse this label itself. Let's say you have this label. It says hello NativeScript on Android and iOS. Let's say I want to say hello Android on Android and hello iOS on iOS. So you can just prefix that property with Android or iOS. So I can do Android text is hello Android, and I can do iOS text is hello iOS, and if I save it, am I connected to it? Just quickly, can it? I think I lost connection there. Open up. Nothing to do with my internet now. Yeah. See hello iOS come there. It was something to do with my internet. Yeah. So you see hello Android and hello iOS come on respective screens, right? So that is the first way you can do a differentiation. You just tag it like this, iOS colon and Android colon, and NativeScript framework takes care of doing that for you. For example, here I have for the search bar, I like the default iOS search bar. So if I remove this Android colon there, you see it refreshed only, okay, it refreshed here. And work fast. Something's my internet today. Okay, there's something wrong here. Okay, so this is what I was trying to do. So you can see this is how it was supposed to look. I don't like how it's looking. So I want that background color white only on Android. So because if I don't give a background color, search bar was looking like this on Android. So I wanted a white background for Android. So I just did background color white, but that broke how search bar was looking on iOS. So I did Android colon background color, and now the background color appears only on Android. The spelling's wrong. Android, yeah. So you can see it only appears on Android. And the second way to do it is using Android tags and iOS tags. If you enclose anything, any part of your code with Android tags, it will run only on Android, and same for iOS. If you enclose it with iOS, it will run only on iOS. And the third way to do it is you can rename this file home.component.android.html and then home.component.ios.html, and you can really choose when you set up this template, you can import like this, import is Android from platform, and you can, okay, it's already imported. You can do something like, if is Android is true, then use this file, otherwise use another file. When you're working with NativeScript JavaScript or NativeScript TypeScript, you don't have to do this part. It will automatically take it if you just rename the file to something.android.xml and something.ios.xml. But on Angular, you'll have to assign it like this. Or is it? I think, wait a sec. Let's do this. I'm going to create home component, and it really applies to all the types of files, not just for HTML files, but for TS files, CSS files, or even if you create service, really any file, if you just rename it with .android that extension, .ios extension, it will be provided only to that particular platform. So these are the 3 ways that you can use to do it. So you can ask another question or anything now.
I think
Can you say that?
Yeah. Put your screen back on so that we can see your face again.
Oh, sure. How do I do that? Yeah.
Okay, everybody say thank you to Shiva.
I'm sorry that the demo gods weren't with me. I wanted to show you the grocery sample, but
Well, we'll just have to have you. We'll just have to do this again. We'll do it again in a few months. Yeah.
at that time, maybe if you give me more time, I can really walk you through larger apps so that you get more idea of. Actually, you can do it yourself. You can go through that interactive tutorial, and it really does a good job of teaching you and getting you up and running with NativeScript. So I recommend all of you to go to play.nativescript.org and try out that interactive tutorial. Maybe even try out other flavors of NativeScript. And also don't forget to join NativeScript Slack, because that is where you'll get all the help for NativeScript.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Shiva. We'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. So hope you guys enjoyed this talk. And you can always tweet at multishift19 if you have any questions NativeScript related, or you can always find me on Slack.
Great. Bye.